Hello, this is Ken. So for the first video, we're going to talk about sensory perception and the senses in general. So the senses are basically how you see the world and how you perceive the world with your eyes, with your ears, etc. And you might be wondering, like, what is the definition of a sense? The definition of the sense is actually first coined by Aristotle 2,000 years ago. So he investigated how the way senses impinge, like how we perceive it, how we can become conscious via the senses. And he listed like five known senses that we can see, right? With the eyes, ears, vision, hearing, smell, taste, touch. But that model of five senses model has been stuck for a very long time and has been adopted in history for a very long time. So it's in our mainstream knowledge, that five sense novel model. But recently, in the last 50 years, scientists have discovered like many more senses, but it hasn't been communicated well enough, what these senses are. So back to the beginning, right? So there are multiple elements in the world and in the universe, right, that has uh, like things like forces of nature, right? So like electromagnetic radiation, right, and atmosphere, and then pressure and things like that. So these are important elements of nature, and then how these elements put affects our body in some ways. So and then our brain take those effects, and then we create an image in our brain, in our mind, and that's how we perceive via the senses. So the eyes, of course, it picks up light, electromagnetic radiation. The ears picks up pressure from sound pressure from air particles, and then smell and taste picks up information from the chemicals. So they're basically like chemical senses, right? So touch picks up mechanical pressure and different kinds of pressure, like and as well as a pain is also an extreme version of touch. And then there's also like hot and cold sensation, like temperature sense. So temperature sense is separate from touch. So some people enjoy, hotter climates or hotter sensations. Some people enjoy more colder, cooler sensations. And then there are other senses that most people don't know about, like kinesthetic sense. So kinesthetic sense is our body sense. So there are senses between our joints and muscles, and this sense allow us to feel our body, where our body is in space, without actually like looking at it, right? So you can close your eyes and you know where your ankle is, you know where your elbow is, and that's very important for us to feel that we have a body. And some people, the way we enjoy with that sense is like when you do dancing, sports, martial arts, etc. And then there is balance sense. So balance sense is the sense that measures and feel gravity, right? Acceleration and gravity, or you can take the G force. So this is very important sense because it allows us to stand upright without falling. And walking itself is actually quite a complex skill because you are basically like control falling. So we sort of navigate with the balance sense and kinesthetic sense and vision so that we are able to stand upright. And then like babies, it takes them like a year and a half, like for them to start walking. And it is a complex skill. And then so for other balance sense, in order to challenge your balance sense, you can do things like ice skating, skateboarding, surfing, these things like that. So many people really enjoy those sensations. And then a more extreme version would be like skydiving, scuba diving, things like that. And then there is more obscure senses like sense of time, for example, right? Sense of time is it seems quite abstract because we're aware of clocks, we're aware of calendars and time, but there are specific systems in our brain that track sense of time. Right? There are multiple sense of time working in parallel at the same time. So the first one would be like circadian rhythm. So many people would have heard about circadian rhythm. That's basically the part of the brain that tracks sunlight and day and night cycles, like 24-hour cycles. And then so that's why, like, when you need to go to sleep and or when you wake up, some people have really enjoyed that strict schedules of when they go to sleep, when they wake up, and you feel that effect like when you travel abroad. So when you go to a different country, like either Asia or America or some either east or the west, you feel jet lag. So jet lag is what happens when your sense of times temporarily becomes disjointed with the environment that you put yourself in, right? So it takes about a week and 2 weeks to readjust that day and night cycle again. And then the second sense of time is like sense of rhythm. So rhythm and pacing, that's actually sense of time, and it's very much linked to like music, dancing, and also the way you speak, like what kind of what rhythm you have, the way you speak is very important in engaging people. And then there is the flow state. So flow sense of time, like your conscious awareness of time can change when like you're very engaged with something, like your attentions are very engaged, so you lose track of time when you really like enjoy watching something that you like, or you are traveling, and then during the travel, like the time flies so fast, right? So these are different sense of time that are working in parallel. And then there is spatial sense. Spatial sense is when you have like sense of direction. Some people are very good sense of direction, some people are not as good sense of direction. And then there is spatial awareness, your awareness of your immediate surroundings. And some people are very good at being aware of it. Some people are quite oblivious to their surroundings as well. So spatial sense is just as important as a sense of time and making us aware of where we are, and so that we don't get lost, right? And then lastly, there is something called the internal sense. So internal sense is our awareness of our internal body, like our heart, our stomach, our gut, the feeling from our gut. And this is also linked to like many desires and instinct, like the hunger, thirst, other kinds of things that we need for our bodies. So, and let's say that when you're very, very hungry, you also start to feel angry as well, like the hangry sensation. So that comes from the internal sense, right? So these senses are very, very important. And we will, for more videos coming forward, I will explain in detail what each of these senses work, how vision works, how hearing works, how all those senses I mentioned works. And then we will go through and then we will understand more about them so that you can appreciate them more, right? And I also developed personality tests based on the senses. So if you want to check that out, go to plconsulting.org, and so you'll see it there. All right, this is all for today. Thank you.